Brunswick Peachtree Lanes in Norcross, Georgia, Prime proudly presents the 18th of 22 Open Division qualifiers of the Brunswick World Team Challenge. Welcome to the Brunswick Peachtree Lanes here in the greater Atlanta area. Great to have you with us. A full field of 76 teams competing here. Hello again, everybody. Jay Randolph along with Hall of Famer Earl Anthony. Earl, we are down to 3 teams, and they're very talented teams.
They are, and the experience is a key factor. There's no question about that. The team that's leading today, Don Carter All-Star Lanes, really had to bowl well in the position round match to get there. So it's been such a competitive tournament all week long. That close, right up through the match play. The team in second place, River Lanes, won this tournament 2 years ago in 1994, and they feel they can win it again today. The team in third, Team Ebonite, is a defending champion. So we not only do we have a lot of experience, but we have teams that are very comfortable here. We have good, solid, strong anchor men for each of these teams, so look for some excitement in our matches today.
Yes, indeed. All of the excitement of the Baker system is coming up. And our first match with River Lanes going against Team Brunswick. The American Bowling Congress and the Women's International Bowling Congress, providing championship service to sanctioned leagues across the United States. Make sure your league is sanctioned by the national governing bodies. By Lynn Shoes. For the performance approach, it's American-made Lynn Shoes, the choice of bowlers worldwide. By Contour Power Grips, the pioneers of the finger grip industry. More pros choose Contour Power Grips. You should too. And by Brunswick. Bowling is sold on Brunswick worldwide. Skip Hintz for River Lanes and Dave Olm for the Team Ebonite. Shake hands and we're ready to roll here. This is Hintz, 52-year-old proprietor of the River Lanes in Titusville, Florida. And a problem right off the bat.
You know, the washout, the 1, 2, 4, and the 10, and it's not really the way you want to get out of the gate. It seems like it's always a little bit of nerves to get started, Jay, as the teams, they get all set, they do all their practice and prepare, and then they sit down for a few minutes and get up to throw that first shot, and the nerves go. Trying to slide the head pin into the 10 pin, just like that.
A beautiful shot. That's got to pick his team up right off the bat. Here's Dave Olm, 40-year-old pro shop owner. Lives here in the Atlanta area.
Very deliberate, very slow to the foul line, and maybe just a little bit too deliberate. Kind of aimed that shot, and it rolled up heavy on the head pin. The big 4, the 4, 6, 7, 10. He'll go for just 2 of these and maybe get lucky and bounce it out of the pit, but not likely.
Dave's a pro shop owner, the Brunswick Winnett Lanes. The starting lineups presented by Contour Power Grips. They're the pioneers in the finger grip industry. More pros choose Contour Power Grips, and you should too. And this shot on the way. Kevin Richardson.
Do you think this team figures that they can all just leave the washout, pick it up, and that way they'll be ahead by the 5th frame because the other team's going to throw a split every shot? What do you think?
Could be a problem down the road.
Maybe this is a psychology thing. Maybe they're trying to fake them out a little bit.
Well, maybe a little early match jitters here, too.
On for the washout.
Right around the 10. And our Power Grip starting lineup for Team Ebonite, presented by the pioneers of the finger grip industry, Contour Power Grips. Stan Garner, 27 years old. This fellow bowls for a living. He's from Tucker, Georgia. Gets them all.
A lot of strength in that shot. Great ball speed there. Very confident young man. When he gets to the foul line, he's really solid. Here's a look at his style. A good long knee bend. Look at that follow through. Up over the head, the elbow to the ground. The ball, good strong forward roll. Solid in the pocket, 10 in the pit.
Ken May, he's the program director at River Lanes in Titusville. All right.
Somebody got it up to the pocket finally. No more washouts. So they figure that isn't going to work for him, maybe, that washout. That's something to get the team going. This team Ebonite, as we mentioned when we were talking earlier, is a very strong team, very experienced. They were the defending champions here. And all the way down the lineup, all these players have been around a while. They've got a lot of tournament experience, and they don't get very nervous.
Look out. Comito almost put it in the chattel.
Well, that made the camera guy even blink a little bit. He thought that was gone. But he did get it back for 8.
Big Rob is from Boca Raton, Florida.
There's an out of bounds out there. If you get it too wide, it's not going to come back. You get it outside that second arrow out, maybe around the 6 board, 30, 40 feet down the lane, it'll just skid out on you.
Now we'll get our first look at John Janawicz. Lead of 3 for Team Ebonite. Janawicz, the youngest competitor in the finals here, 23 years old, a bowling center mechanic from Merritt Island, Florida.
And you kind of wonder if he didn't make a little move there based on his teammates, how they'd performed on the lane. 2 washouts, and then finally one guy got it to the pocket, but it was light in the pocket for the strike. Looked like he just wanted to make sure he got it back to the head pin.
Earl, his team made a big move, coming all the way from 8th place after the qualifying.
Right, and this is a good match. We've got 2 teams that have won before, the 94 and the 95 champions here, the Team Ebonite being the defending champions. So it's not like they haven't been in this position before. They know what it's like to be winners. They know what it's like to get beat. They both got beat pretty soundly when they bowled for the world title.
Larry Barwick, 36-year-old bowling center proprietor. He's from Wauchula, Florida. Gotta hurry.
Well, he had the man in motion coming after the 10-pin, but ran out of lane there. It fell off into the pit. Only the 10-pin. He'll pick up another ball to shoot his spare with, ball that he can go straight with. Stand way to the left, use as much of the approach in the lane as he can. Go cross lane at the spare. A lot of ball speed. Try not to hook it. Just throw it pretty hard and straight. You see him getting those fingers set in the ball. Lay the thumb in. Speed. Good ball speed here. Right at it. Cross lane. Probably spotting on the 4th arrow.
This is a 2-game match. The winner to go against the Don Carter All-Star Lanes. The lead is 2 for Team Ebonite. Pete Couture, pro bowler. 5 PBA national titles to his credit. Pete, who lives in the Titusville, Florida area.
Team seems to be very confused on lane 35. We're bowling on lanes 35 and 36 here at Brunswick Peachtree Lanes, and it seems like 35 isn't hooking near as much as 36, and there's always a difference from lane to lane, even when they're synthetic, and we're bowling on a synthetic lane condition, also with synthetic approaches. And the bowlers bowling on synthetic pin decks, so everything's synthetic, and except the scores. They're for real. Everything you do counts. Pete Couture not covering it. New PBA Rookie of the Year in the Senior Tour. How do you like to be a rookie at 50, huh?
Not a bad deal.
Not a bad deal. Makes you feel young again.
That's it. Here is Sam Zurich, 39-year-old pro shop owner.
Mr. Smooth here.
Yeah, he has his pro shop in the Brevard Bowling Center in Belburn, Florida, where the Florida Marlins train. Oh, good-looking shot there. We'll return with more of the Brunswick World Team Challenge from Norcross, Georgia, right after we take time out for these messages. Go round here as Skip Hintz has it on the way.
Yes. Obviously a much better shot there. Second time around for Skip, a little more relaxed. Got to the foul line, pretty good shape that time, good balance, and got the ball off his hand the way he wanted to. Second time around, usually the players are a little more relaxed. It's just getting used to having that camera on you, this big audience watching. Even if you've done it a few times, it can still be nerve-wracking.
Dave Ohm has 6 regional PBA titles to his credit over the years. Oh, boy.
It's pretty obvious the different way he threw that one. A lot more emphasis on the release there.
High game. Gentleman from Huntsville, Alabama. And the high game, vice grips from Miami, 1161.
Qualified second, fell all the way to 9th, I think, Jay.
Dave Ohm picks up the spare. High series, Pete Couture.
Boy, that's a great series. That's three games, average 251 to lead the qualifiers. There's a name out of the past, Paul Zevgolis, the lefty used to bowl on the tour. Nice guy.
And a problem here for Kevin Richardson.
The 6-7-10. He'll go get another bowling ball like all the players seem to do nowadays. Switch balls for the spares. Stand way to the left. Use all that lane. Try to slide the 6 into the 7. Let the ball take out the 10. Cross lane with a lot of ball speed. Good effort there. Neither team seems to be able to really take command in this opening game of this match, Jay, and it just so you folks are aware, this is 2 games total pins to decide the winner of this match. So after they complete this first game, they'll switch lanes. The team on 36 will go to lane 35 and vice versa.
And Garner has opened with a pair of strikes.
Yeah, he looks tough, doesn't he? I like his game. It's very solid. He looks a little bit like Sam Zurich at the foul line. Really well balanced and that great loose arm swing from the shoulder.
Team Ebonite bouncing out to the lead. Ken May. Ken won the 95 LPBT mixed doubles event in Jacksonville, Florida.
Oh, that was a good ball there. Hard to understand sometimes why one of those pins stands up, but it just that's what makes the game tough. Even the good shots sometimes don't get the strikes.
Spares in match play, 65%.
That's pretty bad if you really want the honest truth, Jay. When a bowler of this caliber has missed 7 out of 20 spare attempts, that's not very good at all. Of course, we don't know what the difficulty of the spares. It might have been washouts. It might have been a variety of things.
Qualifying average, 210.6 for Carter's lanes and 205 in the Baker system. Match play, 7-3 for Don Carter lanes, 6-4 for River lanes, 5-5 Team Ebonite. Got them all. Rob Comito.
Rob's running it out, and Rob runs him out. You get out of his way. He's a big boy.
He has a pro shop not far from where I live in the west side of Fort Lauderdale. 37-pin lead for Team Ebonite.
You go in there and get your bowling balls drilled, do you, Jay?
I actually bought a couple of plaques for some friends from him.
Did you really?
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Yeah. And they go down for Janawicz.
Like his game. I like his release. Very strong wrist roll around the side of the ball. That's where you create all that revolution. Rotate that wrist. That's what gives you the power.
Mentioned 76 teams here from 10 states, and a lot of people coming in from farther away, and 25,000 plus in the prize fund here.
I came all the way from California just to be with you, Jay, just for this.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure. All right. Larry Barwick. And we're back to Pete Couture.
It's going to be interesting to see if Pete makes any kind of an adjustment. Remember, in his first attempt in the 5th frame, he left the 210. Tough spare. He got way light on the head pin, just enough to get in trouble. See if he gets it up a little tighter this time. Goes more direct with more speed. He did it, rolled up high, and he got away with it, but he wasn't very happy with the release.
Brooklyn, and he'll take that one, as you mentioned. Why not?
You get to throw it again, Pete. No resting between shots here. He forgot where he was for a minute. Oh, I'm bowling last? Okay, I'll get up there and throw it. Here's a look at his strikes percentage throughout the match play. Pretty good there.
73%. Couture, a member of the Connecticut Bowling Hall of Fame, 50-year-old veteran who's now a rookie, as Earl mentioned, strikes.
Well, he kind of did what they do with the mortar shells. One long, one short, and one in the middle. And the one in the middle is the one he wants right there. Unfortunately, now he has to change lanes for the next game. So what he's figured out on lane 35 probably won't work on 36.
You look at his career all-time in the World Team Challenge. 10 strikes.
One first. So he's a winner.
The 94 event here in Norcross.
Well, I think Pete's going to be happy to get done with lane 35. That's the way he started with a 210, finished with a 210.
What about the strategy here? They had their choice, didn't they?
Yes, they did. The team that finishes higher in the standings, which was the River Lanes team, had their option of what lane to start on. Zurich.
He's appeared a great deal in the World Team Challenge, won the 95 Norcross event, and always performs very, very well under the pressure. Oh, it won't go down.
Made a good shot, got a little bit of a break. The ball came off his hand a little early, so it got into a roll, I think, a little sooner than Sam wanted it to. Came up a little high in the head pin and cut through. And we'll take a look at the rotation of the ball. And here's right now, it's picking up the roll, and it finishes very strongly. And look, a little high on the head pin. Watch the 4-9. It's standing, the 9 falls down. Pin actually hit it from behind. Sam's getting down on one knee and praying a little bit, but it didn't happen this time. What a good start for his team. They'll be around 206 with the fill, and that's 28 pin lead they can take out after this first game. Remember, it's 2 games, total pins. And the winner will then go on to meet Don Carter All-Star Lanes for the championship.
52%.
Sam's better than that. He's better than that. Sure like his game. Nice solid release at the foul line. Good position.
Team Ebonite is up by 27 after our first game. We'll return with more from Norcross, Georgia, right after. Set to bowl here for Team Ebonite. As we move to game 2. That has to hurry. Didn't get there.
Well, now there's a good example of what we were talking about in the opening game. Remember how the River Lanes team started on lane 35. Wash out, finally got a strike, then somebody made an adjustment and hit the nose, that kind of thing. Well, here it is. Maybe this lane is a little tougher. Maybe there's an area out there it's a little more out of bounds than the Team Ebonite was looking for. I'm sure they were watching River Lanes when they were bowling on this lane, trying to see if they were making good releases, if they were hitting their target and getting good ball reaction. So that's not just the players. Sometimes the lanes will make it a little tougher, and the team challenge always is a challenge.
Skip Hintz. Skip bowls on the senior tour, owns a regional PBA title. Nicely done.
There it is. Now, sometimes there's an advantage one lane to the other, but you never know in advance. And we'll take a look at the style of Skip Hintz. He's been around a long time. We talk about experience. It's always a key factor. But look at the great position at the swing of the top of the shoulder. Good position at the foul line. The shoulder's over the knee. And look at the elbow straight to the floor. Those are 3 key things you look for in a good player.
Stan Garner trying to make it 3 strikes in a row.
And there again, there's an adjustment. Right there. There's an adjustment off of a ball reaction from his leadoff player. We watched the opening shot become a washout. The next guy gets up, makes an adjustment, and he barely gets the head pin on the other side. So they're going to have to move out of that area of the lane. They can't continue to stay there or they're going to get beat. They're going to have to move way inside, I think, or way out. They can't stay in that area between second and third arrow.
You never stop adjusting in this kind of match.
That's great. That's good observation, Jay. You're exactly right.
Richardson has it going down there and is standing.
Good shot. Could have been a big shot for the team. They could have put him right back in the hunt. Actually, they would have been only a few pins behind now. Even with the open, Team Ebonite still leads going into this third frame of the second game of this 2-game match, and it's going to be exciting to see what happens to Team Ebonite on lane 35. I'm really excited to see what happens when they get down to the last 2 guys, the key guys of that team.
Richardson picking up the spare. And now here is Rob Comito. This big guy with a league average of 230.
Oh boy, look at this.
Well, he almost got it back, Earl.
Almost got it back. He made a move there, tried something, it didn't work. He got it out too far near the edge of the lane, or else he just didn't make the shot he wanted, but it looked like we might have gotten back with the 210.
He was part of the 95 Norcross event winning team, and you see what he's done in his World Team Challenge career.
Tough spare, possible, but tough. Oh, great shot there, huh?
Marvelous shot.
You don't think this is a team effort? There's 4 guys jumping up there to grab Rob. They like him all. A minute ago, they didn't like him. Now they like him a lot. Here's another look at that shot using the left-hander's side of the lane, throwing it extremely hard. That's why they put paint on him, just enough of that pin to slide it into the 10.
And he's now the king of the hill.
He's the king. They're all gonna buy him a beer when they're done now.
Very nice. That shot coming from Ken May.
This right-hand lane, lane 36, looks very playable. Lane 35 looks tough.
We'll return with more of the action from the Brunswick World Team Challenge, the Brunswick Peachtree Lanes in Norcross, Georgia, right after this. Barwick, who is a bowling center proprietor, the Bowl of Fun in Wauchula, Florida. And he gets them all.
Sometimes when there's an area of the lane like lane 35 that seems to be unplayable, the bowlers have to go around that, and the way you do that is you don't get it wide of, say, the second arrow at the 30-foot mark on the lane. You look 45 to 50 feet down the lane, you go deeper with your feet or more to the left, you try to hit your target at about 45 feet out near the 5 board. At that point, you're beyond the oil pattern. Then you can get some friction and get it back.
Janawicz has the strike. He was the 91 Bowlers Journal singles champion.
Well, I'll tell you what, River Lanes is going to look awful tough right now, especially when you consider that lane 36 seems to be very playable. Let's see what Sam Zurich can do. He's had a chance to watch 4 of his teammates do their best on lane 35. Only 1 ball so far in the pocket on that lane.
Well, he didn't figure much out there.
Well, what he was trying to do was overpower the lane, and I think the machine might have touched that pin. We might have to have it respotted. The 9-pin fell down as the machine was coming down. A decision by Dennis Sarnecki, who is the tournament director, that the pin fell down on its own volition, so it will not have to be respotted. Sam will shoot the 3-6-10 here. Cross lane. Use as much of the lane again as you can. Try to fit it between the 3 and the 6. Like that. Look out, Sam. Boy, he just did get the pin, huh?
He's happy.
Well, they're confused. There's no question in my mind that the team is completely confused on lane 35. I'm sure there's going to be some conversation over there now. What do we do, guys? Can't throw it hard enough to keep it on line, but if we give it room, it doesn't come back. Meanwhile, River Lanes with Pete Couture, bowling anchor, doing quite well on lane 36 and making a charge.
Came up just a bit short.
Pete didn't do much to that ball. His point of release there, he just kind of let it come off his hand as if he was afraid it might overhook. So he kind of steered that one down the lane, tried not to get too much on it, and it didn't react for him. Tough spare. The 2, the 5, and the 8. He wants to be able to get the ball to cover the 2, 5, and 8. All 3 pins with the ball. Hooking it cross lane, and he chopped it. That's a disaster at this point. We're halfway through the second game, and That puts them right back in, Team Ebonite right back up there with a pretty decent lead considering they've been struggling on lane 35. We'll look again at Pete Couture shooting the spare. He tries to go off his strike line, hook it across the lane, and it just hooked a little more than he expected it to. And he leaves the 5-pin.
Dave Ohm for Team Ebonite.
Dave had a little problem there with his arms. I'll tell you what, he got away with something. I don't know if we've got that, but if we could see it again, you'd see him bounce the ball off his leg in the downswing and then bumped it out to the right, and that's the reason the ball went left. His swing went out to the right. When it comes back through, it's going to go left, and so is the ball. He leaves the 6-10. I don't know why he didn't stop. He bumped the ball off his leg. He was completely out of sync. Might have started over. We're going to get a chance to look at that shot again. He misses the spare, and that is real disaster.
Well, I think that first ball really upset him, and then the upset.
Here's a look at it. Watch
the mistake.
Right.
Here.
Watch the arm swing. It bumps into his leg, bounces out, and then he comes back and tries to get it in position. Can't do it. And you can see he's trying to keep it from hooking. Here again, and across the lane at the spare, and the ball just skids by the 6-pin. Ebonite in trouble.
And a big strike right there for Skip Hintz. We'll be back with more of this opening match from Norcross, Georgia, right after we take time out for these messages. He has been perfect on this match up to now.
Oh, got a big break for a minute, but it didn't turn out that way. The 6-7, tough spare here, and one of the nearly impossible but very makeable for a tough player like this young man. He'll go cross lane here again with a lot of ball speed, try to slide it into the 7.
This could be his first Open ever in World Team Challenge competition.
Well, at least in the televised portion.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Cross lane here, try to slide it over. Oh, good effort.
Little disappointment in his face right now as...
Remember when you mentioned, Jay, early on in this match about they had the choice of lanes? This team right here, River Lanes, when they started wash out, and we thought they were really in trouble. Well, maybe they felt they could get a chance to finish on lane 36, which was by far the better of the two lanes in their opinion. And that would be with the deciding point in the match. It's a possibility. Or maybe they just said, heck, we don't care where we start. Just let us go. We're ready. Maybe they're not quite that scientific.
Well, we could have a lead change here if he spares. Kevin Richardson.
No gimme here. 3-6-10.
He's a bowling mechanic in the Satellite Beach area of Florida.
Where is that? Satellite
Beach? Near Titusville. And he picks it up. The Titusville area right next to the Space Coast area down there where all of the flights come out of Cape Canaveral.
Ah. For a transplanted Washington, D.C., West Virginian, you're pretty up on this Florida thing here.
Jay's geography class.
There's what we got. Okay. Well, this match down to about a 4-pin difference. I think River Lanes has that advantage right now, and we're running out of frames. Team Ebonite's got to get it back together, or they're out of here.
Rob Comito. He's left the 7.
All right, what could be kind of interesting on the spare is nobody's played anything on the left side of the lane, basically, as far as the corner pin is concerned. The 4 or the 7, we haven't seen hardly any of those. So he's got to be careful this ball doesn't overhook for him. If it gets to the middle of the lane, it could hook early and go in the channel. So he has to be careful. He's an excellent spare shooter, as you can see by his percentages there, 19 out of 22. Look out. Oh, boy.
Oh, just stayed up.
Oh, boy. Whew. That'll get your heart beating a little faster, and the guys on the bench aren't looking real happy right now. Really, this is all in the hands of River Lanes. They have a slight lead now. They're on what we think might be the better of the two lanes, but the lanes do go through a transition, and as they change, that advantage could go away. We're running out of frames.
May struck on this lane last time.
Oh, and he made a good shot. Almost got an awful break. Got away with it. Only the 10-pin, but for a brief moment, incredibly, even though he hit half pocket for a brief moment, he had a big split there. The 4 and the 10. Fill the frames. We always mention that. It's so important. Spares are the key to winning in the team challenge.
Okey-dokey.
Well, as so many of our matches do, Jay, it looks like we could have another one coming down to the 10th frame, and two really fine players bowling anchor for these two teams. Pete Couture going against Team Ebonite's Sam Zurich.
Larry Barwick, 8 PBA regional titles. That's a very important setup shot right there.
You're exactly right. 9th frame is the key frame. Set it up for the guy that's bowling anchor. Give him an opportunity to throw one strike and maybe win this thing rather than having to throw two himself in the 10th. So important to get that guy lined up in the 9th that can give you that one you need, the big one. Loaded up.
Now let's see what Janawicz can do. Again, I'll mention he is the youngest of the competitors, but he is very mature for his 23 years of age.
Watch the release here.
To bowling under pressure.
Excellent release. Great wrist action, good rotation on the ball, and one of the bad breaks of the game of bowling right there, folks. Does solid 8. What can he do? He comes back, hand, what can he do? It's as good as he can throw it. And boy, I tell you, that could be the difference in this match. Game can be heartbreaking at times. 23 years old. That'll mature you in a hurry if you're not already.
He thought he had the strike and just didn't get it. And now we are down to Sam Zurich, and the lead is 2.
Well, these two very talented, very, very experienced, been around a long time anchormen. Sam Zurich bowled on the tour for a number of years. Pete Couture, the same thing. Zurich with the advantage. His team on a strike in the 9th. If he can strike here, they will take the lead. Look out. Boy, you can see that when he let go, but he got it out there in no man's land, that out of bounds area, and it never had a chance.
By his standards, a very disappointing shot.
Well, the important thing, here's a look at that shot again, and we watch the ball get out near the channel about 30 feet down right there, and it just can't pick up the revolutions to get back because of the oil out there. The key thing here is he didn't lose any count. His team's on a strike. If he can make the spare and fill it up, it's still a very close match, and then the pressure comes back to Pete Couture. Well, that makes it a pretty easy thing for Pete Couture.
Yes, it does.
Not only did he not pick up the spare, but he lost a lot of count by not even getting 9 out. So the team ends with a game of 148, which is just not going to do it. The total of 353. And anything on the lane here for Pete Couture makes them a winner.
So I'm looking up at the scoreboard. He knows exactly what he needs to do here. How's that?
That looks pretty good to me. Pete Couture.
Pete just shaking his head. Show you some other finishers here this week. Finishing 4th, Pros Corner, St. Petersburg, Allied Label from here in the Atlanta area. Coleman Auto Parts out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Ebonite 3.
Ebonite 3, Phoenix City, Alabama.
You know, Guppy Troop.
Guppy Troop, sure. Vice Grips Inserts, Valrico, Florida. Pete Couture finishing things off. The victory for River Lanes here. And River Lanes will go against the Don Carter All-Star Lanes of Sunrise, Florida in our championship match. We'll return with more right after these messages. Around the bowling world, brought to you by the High Roller Tournaments at the Showboat Hotel in Las Vegas. Windy City legend Carmen Salvino led the parade of PBA stars kicking off the recent Brunswick World Tournament of Champions Week in Chicago. Salvino was honored by Brunswick for his brilliant bowling career before the Professional Bowlers Association Hall of Fame ceremony. The PBA inducted 3 new members, including 2-time ABC Masters champion Mike Albee and Milwaukee, Oregon's Dave Husted, each in the performance category. Larry Lickstein was enshrined in the Meritorious Service Division. Bowling's Olympic movement took a giant step forward as the sport was granted medal status for the '99 Pan American Games to be held in Winnipeg, Canada. Bowling will be one of the 27 medal sports included in those games. Acceptance in regional competitions like the Pan Am Games is essential in the march toward full medal status in the Olympic Games. John Jowdy has been elected president of the Bowling Riders Association of America. The El Cajon, California resident assumed his new post on May the 1st. Hal Wilbur won the recent 4th annual High Roller Senior Easter Classic at Showboat Lanes in Las Vegas. The native Las Vegan pocketed $35,000 in the biggest senior event in bowling history. Harold Beck of Ambridge, Pennsylvania finished second. 561 entries played for a record purse of almost $500,000. July's High Roller will be the largest megabuck event ever, featuring a purse of $2.5 million. First prize guaranteed at $200,000. Second place good for $100,000. Around the Bowling World has been brought to you by the High Roller Tournaments. Call 800-257-6179 for information on how to enter. Coming up, our championship match, River Lanes against Don Carter All-Star Lanes. The Treasure Chest Casino, proud host of the 96 Grand Championships, August 24th through the 27th, qualifying at Don Carter Lanes, and then the arena finals at the Pontchartrain Center in Kenner, Louisiana. It is Skip Hintz and Tommy Evans, a couple of veterans shaking hands there as 55-year-old Tommy Evans will get it started for Don Carter All-Star Lanes.
Interesting that they are the team that finished higher in the standings. They're our tournament leaders. They decided to start on lane 35, and who knows what's going on out there in these lanes right now. Tommy Evans in practice hit this lane every time, and he's kept it going.
That's a great way to start. Now let's see what Hintz can do, as the winner of this match, of course, gets the all-expense trip to the Grand Championship. And don't forget, we have the $25,000 perfect game bonus brought to you by Bud Light, proud sponsor of the 96 Summer Games here in the Atlanta area. And a problem for Hintz.
Boy, that ball really gripped the lane on the end. The last 2 or 3 feet, it just grabbed and went left. Skip thought he'd made a pretty good shot there. Ball looked good until those last 2 or 3 feet, right through the middle of the head pin, the 4-6.
River Lanes defeating Team Ebonite 371 to 353 to gain this championship match opportunity. Lineups presented by Contour Power Grips, the pioneers in the finger grip industry. More pros choose the Contour Power Grips, and you should too. Lineup for Don Carter Lanes. Paul Apollinario, left-hander, has it on the way.
The only left-hander to make the telecast of the 15 players, and he was really instrumental in the team getting here. He made a lot of good shots for him, a lot of key strikes. Tough spare here. 1, 3, 6, 9. He wants to get the ball on the left side of the head pin, let the ball take out all 4 pins. Well, it's kind of hard to understand how a player of his caliber can miss the head pin twice in a row, but folks, it'll happen, believe me. When you're trying to be very precise and get just a piece of that head pin at 60 feet, it's pretty easy to miss that 1 inch or 2 inches you're looking at.
Kevin Richardson. Nice fluid delivery, a little high.
Oh boy, and they're not getting any easier now. The 3, 9, 10. The idea here will be to fit the ball between the 3 and the 10, let the ball carry through and take out the 9. You want deflection enough off the 10 pin to get part of the 9. You can see the ball will not fit between the 9 and the 10 without hitting both pins if you fit it perfectly. So deflect it off the 3 pin and have it fit perfectly between the 10 and the 9. Oh my, that was close.
This is Tony Levance.
Big Tony.
Big Tony is 31 years old, bowls for a living. He is from Sunrise, Florida.
And if anybody ever
really use their upper body strength to release the bowling ball. Tony is the epitome of that style. The very short steps, doesn't do much as far as bending the knees. The backswing only goes past his hip slightly, but he uses that big upper body strength to get the ball down the lane.
Here again now is Ken May.
See, Ken uses 3 fingers plus his thumb to grip the bowling ball. In most instances, that's caused because the player does that because he has a wrist injury of some sort, and he's trying to relieve the pressure by using the little finger also. And it's a lot easier to bowl with that 3rd finger in the ball.
Larry Schaefer, the past president of the ABC, here this afternoon, joining us from Macon, Georgia.
Now, very quickly while we are shooting this spare, let me give you an idea of what the format is for all the World Team Challenge tournaments, and that is we had this particular event, 76 teams, as you mentioned, Jay, and they all bowled 6 games of regular team qualifying. Total pinfall determined who was going to be in the top, and they went into the match play.
And right now, Don Carter Lanes up by 10.
Getting the proper feel is important to every bowler. Grip inserts provide you with that proper feeling on every shot. That's why today's top professionals.
And he strikes for Don Carter's All-Stars.
That's one of the best shots we've seen on lane 35 up to this point. A lot of trust, a lot of ball speed, and good rotation.
John Janawicz.
Remember how disappointed he was in the opening match, 9th frame. Got up there and threw what he thought, and everybody else thought was a perfect ball. Left a solid 8-pin, which could have been the difference in them winning or losing that match, but it didn't turn out to be that way when Sam Zurich let one get away for his team in the 10th. Boy, look at this guy bowl.
Oh, no problem there. He scrambled him.
You see that head pin go across the line?
I sure did.
Oh, my. I'll tell you what. Hit him thin and watch him spin.
Don Carter Lanes, our #1 qualifier, up by 20. This is Dennis Rakoskis from Orlando, Florida. A strike for Rakoskis. He bowls for a living, owns 3 regional PBA titles. And now Pete Couture.
Pete just seems to get better and better as he goes along. He during his period when he wasn't on the regular tour and until he became eligible for the senior tour, it was kind of like a dead time in his life, but he's got it back together and he's really become a fine player at age 51.
Nice going for Pete. And we'll come back to Tommy Evans. Tommy at age 55, the oldest competitor in our championship of the final 3 teams that qualified. And of course, John Janawicz at 23 is the youngest, as I mentioned earlier. Tommy Evans is a neighbor of mine. He lives in Bonaventure, right next to Weston Hills, where I live in Fort Lauderdale.
Boy, that was out of his hand was going left. Tommy's got to feel pretty fortunate there.
Very fortunate.
The Jersey squasher, there is what that's called. This ball crosses the head pin and pushes him down. Watch him. The ball goes out to the right on the backswing, goes left at the bottom. Now watch how the pin action is. This is the Jersey squasher.
That's how he became the 95 National Senior Player of the Year, I guess.
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think so. He's much better than that. Tommy is a classic stylist, and he's a good guy to copy if you want to copy his style.
Yes, indeed. And they all go down for Skip Hintz.
Must be the championship match, the way these guys are throwing strikes. What do you think, partner?
They've smoothed it out, relaxed a little bit.
Yes, they have.
Yep. We're going to return with more of the championship match right after these messages. Mario, he's a postal worker from Sunrise, Florida. See there, they were yelling in the back, and he got him.
Yes, he did, and I tell you, he's got this team right on down through the lineup is very strong. The Don Carter All-Star Lanes team is an outstanding team, is a mixture of youth, experience, and strength, and the ability to make shots under pressure. Tommy Evans, a good example of that. And right on down the line, this is going to be a great match. River Lanes is really ready to answer. Both teams throwing a string of strikes here. And that almost ended it.
Almost ended. Was he glad that one of those pins went down right there at the end.
Yeah, he had the 4-6. The 6 did go down.
Here's to take a look at that ball as it cuts through right through the middle of the head pin right here, breaking very sharply on the end. And quite clearly, it was standing, but something, the butt of that pin, barely got the 6 out.
Happy to have the spare is Kevin Richardson. 31 pins the lead for Don Carter Lanes. A 2-game match, of course, for the championship and the trip to the Grand Championships in Louisiana. Tony Levance. A strike for Levance.
Back to back for Tony. Tony's got it going. I tell you what, he is so strong. Here's another look at the style of Tony. Watch how short this arm swing is. Just gets it past the hip, taking it right out of his back pocket and throwing it down the lane, Jay. Doesn't use much of that approach for sliding either. Just plants his foot, pulls it through.
Ken May for River Lanes. 2 teams from Florida battling it out here in Georgia, and the strike for May.
Kick out that 4-7. That's a big break for him. Keeps him in the match here. They don't want this Don Carter Lanes to get too far away, because remember, they're the tournament leaders, and they got to be the tournament leaders because they performed well in the position round match, which gave them the opportunity to bowl just 1 match for the championship rather than having to bowl 2, as Pete Couture's River Lanes team has to do.
Todd Agee. The strikes are coming hard and fast now.
Now, all of a sudden, that lane looks pretty easy, doesn't it? Remember how tough it looked in that opening match? It's going to be interesting to see what River Lanes can do when they switch lanes. This Don Carter Lanes team makes it look so easy right now. Here's John. John is, he's been really tough. This is a key shot for them. They really need some strikes right here. They're on a strike 9th with loaded up for Pete Couture. They can still finish this game out with 227, which is an excellent score, and still be in the hunt for this championship.
Oh boy, the way things are going, maybe in this next game we might have a shot at that $25,000 perfect game bonus, brought to you by Bud Light, proud sponsor of the '96 Summer Games here in Atlanta.
Here's another look at that last shot by John. You can see the arm swing gets a little high, but look where he's at the bottom. Shoulders are square, a little hop at the bottom there, he's a little off balance, but he still got through the shot.
51 pins the lead. Stop the string.
Kokoskis always there when you need him, Jay. He's always been able to make the good shot under pressure. An amateur bowler that basically bowls for a living, I guess you might say. But Dennis he's always been able to make the good shot. Watch how he puts his hand on the ball to shoot the 10 pin. Uses the little finger and the ring finger, and the reason for that is he doesn't want to get a lot of lift on it. Doesn't want it to hook. He's going to use a lot of lane, throw it right at it, end over end.
All 10 of the players that we are watching perform live in the state of Florida, and we had a large entry from Florida coming here for this event here in Georgia.
Back to his normal grip, the 2 middle fingers in the ball, and get the rotation, and there's the result of the good rotation.
Pete Couture.
What a great start for Don Carter Lanes' team. 247 to open the championship match. Pete Couture can strike it out and get it to within 20 pins. Not really much of a lead in this 2-game Baker System total pins match. The ball never gripped the lane. He left a tough spare. So not only did Pete Couture not get the strikes that he needed, but he's got a possibility of an open which could really extend Don Carter Lanes' opening game lead. He's got to pick this up, Jay, just if for no other reason, just so they go into that second game with a better mental outlook than they would have, obviously, if he were to miss this. Try to get it on the left side of the 2-pin, like that. Perfect cover.
That's very well done. Earl, I agree with you. That was a must.
Well, that was the difference. If he were to miss that, you know, we're looking at a 60-plus pin lead.
Right.
And now it's down to 40-something, but even that, you know, as you and I have seen, we've seen those 50 and 60 pin leads diminish quickly in the Baker system. Where was that is what Pete Couture is thinking when I wanted it.
Upset with himself. We will return with more of this championship match from the Brunswick Peachtree Lanes in Norcross, Georgia, in just a few moments. Knowledgeable crowd here at the Brunswick Peachtree Lanes, ready for the final game of this match. Don Carter All-Star Lanes up by 44 pins. Skip Hintz leads it off.
Oh, look at there. We've got a this could be out of range. Let's see what happens with the Brunswick pin spotter. Will reach over and grab it. How about that, folks? Reached right out there and grabbed it. That actually is not the original 2-pin. That is the 4-pin that got moved over almost to the 2-pin spot by the pin action. The head pin coming off the wall and sliding it over. And this is a tough spare. It's almost a little bit of a split. He's going to try to hit that new 2-pin on the right-hand side and let the ball take out the 5 and the 8. And he didn't get to it. Very disappointed Skip Hintz. That's not the way they wanted to start this game. As you mentioned, Jay, there were 44 pins down going into the second game of the 2-game match, and it's just not the way you start when you want to catch somebody, and a strong team at that in this Don Carter All-Star Lanes team.
Tommy Evans, 5 national and 3 regional PBA senior titles. Brunswick Vice President, the Southeast region, wonderful gentleman, Dan Kilpatrick on hand. Good to see him here. Now Tommy Evans.
And in watching Tommy in practice, the right-hand lane was a little struggle for him. He couldn't quite get the ball to react quite as well, and that was a pretty good safe shot there. It was an excellent shot. He kept the ball speed up, didn't get himself in trouble, left himself an easy spare, only the 2-pin. And when you are trying to protect something in the neighborhood of 50-pin lead, that's a pretty good way to start it. And,
what a good spare shooter this man is, 95%.
Well, you don't win tournaments on the PBA Tour unless you're a good spare shooter, and Tommy obviously has been that for a number of years.
I was a little upset about something that happened.
Something bothered him in the background.
Something bothered him in the background there, and I don't have a clue as to what it was, but.
Well, it doesn't take much. It's so quiet out there on the approach that you can hear a pin drop and the bowlers get set. As you mentioned, the crowd is very knowledgeable. They know what the bowlers expect of them, and that's to be very quiet when they're on the approach. But let's hear it when you get the ball down the lane. If you liked it, let's hear from you.
Well, they'll hear it there for Kevin Richardson. Hopefully that will get River Lanes going. They've got a bit of a mountain to climb here. Paul Polinario.
The big left-hander, a good arm swing, good rotation on the ball, very steady head at the foul line, and the washout. The 1-3-7. Things just aren't going right for this team in this lane. It's amazing the difference, even on the left side. There's bowlers, all they do all their lives when they bowl is bowl on 2 lanes. They never just bowl on 1 lane. They're always bowling on a pair of lanes, and you learn to go from lane to lane, back and forth. But now they're bowling a full game on 1 lane and then going to the other lane. So it's almost like they're starting over at a new bowling center.
Well, that's why I was talking with you earlier about the adjustments that have to constantly be made in the Baker system.
Well, the thing about it is, while they're waiting to bowl on that lane, even though they had practice balls to start on both lanes, 35 and 36 here at Brunswick Peachtree Lanes, even though they got practice balls in both lanes, they still have to wait for a full game to be bowled. In that period of time, that lane will change, because as the balls roll down the lane, they move the oil, they move the dressing around, and it gets a different reaction.
Ken May gets a very big strike there.
Well, we're getting it tighter now, as it almost seems to always happen. They find a way to get it close. And here's a look at a young man that is really animated. He's got all the body parts moving, and you can see the team in the background. They're just as excited as he is. And here comes the guy that takes it right out of his back pocket, and he's 2 for 2. He's 3 for 3.
Tony Levance has been double tough here. There's the way it stands. 31. The advantage for Don Carter Lanes, and River Lanes needs a strike from John Janawicz.
Oh, boy, he got all of that one, folks. I'll tell you what.
Oh, he did, and he took a big jump to his right and got them all.
That's right. He actually blocked it out. But here's another look at the angle. Watch the rotation at the bottom of the wrist. Again, right there. And the tremendous power on the bowling ball picks up the friction at that point. Plenty to get that 10-pin out. That's the pin he was looking for, is that 10-pin. Get that out, and he's going to get hurt. He's not careful here. He's hopping across there on one leg. Looked like a stork trying to get out of the swimming pool.
Odd AG leaves a 7-pin. AG previously in the World Team Challenge. Of course, a member of the 93 winners here. He's had 4 opens.
Not this time.
No problem.
Got all of that
one. The winner of our championship match, the all-expense trip to the Grand Championship. As this match tightens up now, the lead is 21.
Big shot here. Pete Couture. He's the guy they look to. He's the guy. He's bowling 5th. He's the anchor guy. He's the one they expect to come through when they need him. Remember, he had a little problem in the 10th frame of this first game of this match. So they expect Pete to be the guy they can go to when they need him, and he made a great shot. Oh, and the disappointment. Pete Couture feeling the pressure of bowling with 4 guys depending on him, and that's a big difference than bowling singles, as Pete's used to doing on the PBA Tour and then now on the Senior Tour. You depend on yourself then, and you if you don't perform, no one just gets hurt but yourself. Now he's got 4 guys saying, come on, Pete, you're the man, and he made a good shot. But not very successful. Solid 10-pin, and he makes a spare.
Very disappointed, Pete Couture.
To get to this point, these teams, as I mentioned, they bowled 6 qualifying games. The top 10 based on total pinfall went into match play. They bowled 20 Baker system games, 10 matches, and the top 3 teams you see here right now for the championship were down to 2.
Dennis listed there as a house husband, but he really bowls for a living.
A house husband?
Yeah. He got them all. We're going to the wire in this championship match, and we'll be back to see how it turns out. Don Carter Lanes up by 22 more in a moment. This our final go-round.
And Skip's final chance to help his team, and they need him right now. And oh my, the 3-6. Got a big break. Could have been a lot worse. Right through the middle of the head pin, and luckily for him, everything carried out that left side, or he could have had a lot of troubles. This is not an easy spare. Even though they're right next to each other, the 3-6, the angle the ball wants to take creates a lot of chops. It's easy to pick the 3 off. He's got to be careful here.
80% of his spares have been converted, and he gets that one.
Tommy Evans, last time up on this lane, struggled a bit because he felt like something was bothering his concentration, started over and still didn't make the shot he'd like to make. See if he makes a little adjustment. Wants to keep it light, doesn't want to get too high in the head pin here.
Oh, yes.
Tommy's pumped. He's running him out, and that gets your team excited. He even here's another look at that shot, and Tommy, for an old guy, gets around pretty good here, doesn't he, Jay?
Yes, he does. And
there's that good arm swing. Isn't he smooth? Yeah, very smooth. Doesn't do a lot to the bowling ball, but when you make the right approach, you get there in balance, and the ball comes off your hand clean, that's the result you get.
Don Carter Lanes up by 34. Kevin Richardson has it on the way. Comes up a little short.
Well, River Lanes made a run at him on lane 35, and they put some pressure on Don Carter Lanes, and they've got to keep it going. They can't back off now because they're running out of frames. This, again, is a 2-game match, total pins for the championship. River Lanes down by a bunch, trying to fight back here. Tough spare, the 2-4-5.
River Lanes riding a real dream as they came from 8th place after the qualifying. I mentioned that earlier. They made some move, and they've been tough. But right now, they have run up against a red-hot Don Carter All-Star Lanes unit.
The left-hander made a great shot on this lane last time. Let's see if he can do it again.
Paul Apollinario.
Unfortunately for Paul, excuse me, not last time, but the time before. This last time he had some open Oh my, the 3-pin. Well,
here's the way it went round by round, and you can see that River Lanes was in 8th, came all the way to 2nd. Don Carter Lanes has been right there on the top spot most of the way. Team Ebonite.
good spare shooter and good cover here. Both teams studying the score sheet, trying to see exactly where they're at.
You folks can study it at home, and right now it is Ken May who will send it on its way. Desperately needs a strike. Oh. Almost came up with a Brooklyn strike there. Tell you about some of the upcoming events as we'll be out at your place, Earl, Dublin Bowl, May 18th and 19th. We'll be in Pittsburgh, the Steel City, in June, and then on to Kansas City. That's Kansas City, Missouri, and the Country Club Lanes in Baltimore, Maryland, June 22nd and 23rd. And of course, we'll have all of our teams plus Team USA and the international teams coming to the Grand Championship, and the women events still coming up as we look at Tony Levance. Tony has really been on target. No problem for the big man.
No problem.
He's got it figured out.
Pretty impressive, isn't he?
Very impressive. Mentioned the ladies events, the Diablo Lanes out in Concord, California, Perry Hall Lanes in Baltimore, Maryland. Those events in May and June. And you call the World Team Challenge hotline, 414-423-3387. That's how you can get entered, or for next year for that matter, as we've had many sellouts, of course, across the tour this year. John Janawicz, he's been very sharp.
He has, and he loaded it up again in the 9th frame to give Pete Couture a chance. If someone on the Don Carter Lanes team should falter, you can't ever count Pete Couture out. If you give him an opportunity with the pressure on, he's as tough as they get, bowling anchor.
Todd Agee finished 3rd in the 94 ABC Tournament Singles. He's from DeBerry, Florida.
Oh, that's a real hurter there for River Lanes. Don Carter Lanes team. Not only did he get the strike, but he did it in such a way that the teams are saying, oh, why did it have to be Brooklyn?
Tommy Evans looked back at me and winked. Don Carter Lanes up by 47.
Well, and I believe that will be a winner for him. I don't think you can make up that many pins in the 10th frame, but Pete Couture never quits. There's no quit in this guy. He's going to make a good shot if it's at all possible.
He certainly did. He's a real professional.
The only thing that can hurt Don Carter Lanes is somebody goes over the foul line. Something really ridiculous. If we have an earthquake, something of that nature, I don't think that's going to happen either.
No earthquakes in Georgia.
No earthquake in Georgia. Okay. I don't know about that.
I don't think so anyway. Pete finishing strong.
Well, one of the keys to this match was the 10th frame of that first game when Pete, his team on 2 strikes, had a chance to put it out for 227. That was a 24-pin difference when he left that 6-pin count, made the spare. You can't put it all on one man, obviously, but that definitely was a turning point in the match. And then they made a big run at him in the first 5 frames of the second game of the 2-game match, but couldn't quite put enough pressure on, couldn't quite catch up with Don Carter Lanes.
Brakauskas. And the 10 goes down a little late, but he got them all.
A lot of smiles on one side of the ball return and some just, well, we gave it a good shot on the other side.
Well, the River Lanes team really did bowl very, very well. But this is an outstanding unit. This is Don Carter All-Star Lanes. a look at some other winners here, previous winners. The Brunswick World Team Challenge. These teams, of course, have qualified for the Grand Championships in Louisiana. And it has been another remarkable year on the World Team Challenge Tour all over America. So many sellouts, the popularity of the Baker system. Our congratulations to Don Carter All-Star Lanes. They've won it here in Georgia, and we'll be back to visit with the winners in a moment.
Brunswick. Bowling is sold on Brunswick worldwide. By Lynn Shoes. For the performance approach, it's American-made Lynn Shoes, the choice of top professionals and amateurs alike. By ABC MasterCard. Get a grip on your finances with the ABC MasterCard. By Keepsake, designer and manufacturer of championship ring awards. By DBA Products, the industry leader in lane maintenance equipment. By Avis Rent-A-Car, the official car rental agency of the American Bowling Congress. And by the American Bowling Congress and the Women's International Bowling Congress, providing championship service to sanctioned leagues across the United States. Make sure your league is sanctioned by the national governing bodies.
The victory here for Don Carter All-Star Lanes, 47-pin win. Tommy Evans, great job.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you very much. It's very exciting. Team bowling is coming back.
Well, team bowling is back, and you fellas did a super job. The big man there was perfect today for you.
Oh, yeah. Big shoulders. We rode him all day.
He's strong. Let's get to the prizes for you. Mitch Mitchell, ABC Director.
Thank you, Jay. First of all, it's my pleasure to present this award to Tommy Evans and his team, but I would like to thank the Greater Atlanta Bowling Association for their help this week. It's my pleasure on behalf of 2.5 million ABC members to give you the sponsors plaque. Tommy, congratulations. Good luck in Louisiana.
All right, pass that down. We get to Wayne McDaniels, the general manager here, who's got the rings.
Tommy, congratulations on the behalf of my staff, and thank you, staff, for the job you did this weekend, and the volunteers. Good luck to you. Congratulations.
And now it's a pleasure to bring Larry Schaefer, past ABC president, up with the jacket.
Tommy, a great pleasure to present this jacket to you, and I hope you guys keep your arms warm until you get to New Orleans.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're going to have that trip to the Grand Championship, and it's going to be something special.
Yes, it's going to be very, very special to us. You know, Jay, I'd like to thank the American Bowling Congress for running such a great event, the host center here and their staff. They did a wonderful job, and the local association and the sponsors, Lynn, Brunswick, you know.
Well, I'm very happy to see my neighbor and all these guys do well. Earl, I think you've got a comment down there.
Well, I've got a special man here with me, the guy that put the team together, Jim Queen. And Jim, putting a team like this together has to be kind of a thrill for you, especially when they pull it off like they did.
It sure is. These guys they're great. They all get along great, and they're just all super.
Well, there's a reason you're not bowling. Tell me a little bit about that.
About 3 years ago this month, I had emergency open heart surgery, and lucky to be here, just glad to be here.
But you're going on to the championship, and your guys represent Don Carter Lanes very well, especially you. You're an employee there.
Yes, sir.
All right, Jay?
All right, congratulations to this wonderful group. We wish you the best of luck. Down in Louisiana, Don Carter All-Star Lanes, the winners here in Georgia. The next World Team Challenge telecast is a women's division from Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl in Dublin, California. Check your local listings for dates and times. For Earl Anthony, this is Jay Randolph saying so long from Brunswick